How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Fan. We are back with another FPL live stream. Sorry I've been gone so long. I was a bit busy. And the game weeks were so quick. It's actually only been about like 2 weeks, I think. Maybe 3. But there's been quite a few game weeks in pretty quick succession. Since which United's made it to the FA Cup final. They've also lost to Brighton. We've also had Liverpool on a resurgence. We've had Arsenal bottle the title, seemingly. We've had a whole bunch of different things. But we're going to get straight into the FPL chat this week because it's Game Week 35. This is the last single game week before the last game week of the season in Game Week 38. Because Game Week 36 is a double for Brighton and Newcastle. And Game Week 37 will be a double for, I believe it's Man City, Brighton, Chelsea, United, something like that. Maybe Fulham's in there or something like that as well. Can't remember. But we will go over how we did in our team for this game week gone. We will also take a look at what's ahead in Game Week 35, some transfer plans, and the title of the stream, Pep Roulette. We're going to take a deep dive into that one. And what I'll do, actually, while I'm thinking of it right now, I'm actually going to bring up Fantasy Football Scouts. I have a table, actually, that I made a long time ago in the members area. Haven't used much of the members area stuff this season. Probably reflects on my rank, to be honest. Yeah, so let me see if I can bring that up while I'm just on a different screen here before I forget about it. Where is the members area? Members area, members area. There's the members area. Because I made a table that was based on Man City players. And I called it Pep Roulette. I titled it, Who's Gonna Start for Man City? So mainly we're gonna be looking at the attackers. So I'm just gonna pick all of those, to be honest, that we really care about. Actually, I'll probably throw in some defenders in here too. Like Ake, Akanji, Laporte, Stones. No one cares about Ederson. Walker, probably not so much either. Show any selected players. And I'll sort it by time played, basically. So we'll have that available when we get to that section of the stream. But without further ado, let's see how the team did in Game Week 34. So that's the preview of the table there. Quick little sneak peek there. That's Fantasy Football Scout members area. I haven't used them in a while, so we will give them a shout out when we go to do that segment. So yeah, because we are partnered with them actually. So yeah, always good to shout them out. But yeah, that's how the team did. 112 points, 880k game week rank. Pretty good week. Could have been a little bit better. March versus Matoma was a transfer we made last week in a -8, which was just a small red arrow, which I think we've recuperated, if I remember correctly. Let me check. So yes, we've basically recouped back almost all of it, 10k shy. But in this game week, we went for March instead of McAllister. March ended up getting 5 points. McAllister ended up getting a rest in the first game. They all got the same number of points, though, and then McAllister getting the game-winning penalty, getting himself a clean sheet point as well. Max bonus was not good on that front, so that would have definitely helped out a lot. Martial had chances to score as well. We went with him. Bruno Fernandes would have ultimately been the better play, but that means I would have had to drop one of my midfielders. So we would have probably made a few points up on that deal as well. So we went with the risk, did pay off, but let's see how the whole team did. So De Gea in goal, 9 points, happy about that. Was not expecting clean sheets at all, but he did. Was hoping that he would save McAllister's penalty. He didn't, because McAllister is mint on penalties. But the back line, Trippier, just the 2 points. One of 3 players to blank in the team. No, 4 players. Matoma blanked as well. So a bit disappointing from him. Botman getting an assist is a bit annoying because he was on our bench and would have potentially been better for him there as well. Trent, 11 points. Fantastic. Estupinian, double clean sheet for Brighton. So those going Steele, Estupinian, plus like Mitoma or March or McAllister were looking very, very good this week. In midfield, March, Mitoma, disappointing. The only one to get a return out of the three, like, kind of popular midfielders was McAllister with the penalty, which is crazy because Brighton scored 7 goals in the double game week and only 1 return from all 3 of them. Grealish to come away with just 7 points, a bit disappointing as well. Could have potentially had more. Rashford could have potentially had more as well, especially in the Brighton game. He had his own chances as well. Salah, 18 points, good return. Was the highest scorer in my team. I believe he was potentially the highest scorer in the game week, I want to say. I could be wrong. But he was definitely up there and would have been slightly better off actually captaining him over Erling Haaland, who did not so bad himself, getting himself 16 points, 32 with the armband. Martial being a disappointment there with March, and Mitoma also not getting returns. Kepa being beaten by De Gea on my bench. Watkins just 2 points. So Martial did end up getting 1 more point than Watkins, so it was good there. But Botman, 5 points on the bench. Not ideal. Rico Henry with 0 points. Feel bad if you did have Rico Henry, because I know there were some playing him over. They were playing Trippier and Henry, or Trippier, or Botman and Henry, or whoever. Rico Henry coming away with 0 was not ideal for those who were owners of him. Now, we have 2 free transfers as well. We rolled last week because we did the -8. And kind of it all depends on what the situation is going to be with the deadline. And we'll talk about that when we get to our fixture predictions. So this week, unfortunately, I don't have a tweet for these ones. But I do have a spreadsheet off to the side where I did kind of my predictions. So it's going to be a bit scuffed on this front. So let me put up the notepad. Yeah, the notepad's going to be a bit scuffed, but we're gonna roll with it. We're gonna roll with it. So yeah. Right. Okay, first game out the block. So what I'll do in the notepad is I'll put what I put in the predictions, and we can basically go from there. So I predicted the first game, which was Crystal Palace and West Ham. I predicted 1-1. So unfortunately, no points. I'll put a colon and how many points or something. I'll do like an arrow or something, like how many points we got from that game. Basically, if you get the result right, so had I predicted a Palace win, I would have got at least 1 point. Had I predicted 4-3 exactly, I would have got 3 points. Fortunately, I predicted a draw, ended up being 0 points. For some reason, it was one of the most entertaining games of the week, which is weird. A bit of a weird one. Brentford Forest. I predicted Brentford to win 2-0 over Nottingham Forest, who actually were probably hard done by to come away with 0 points in this one. They did get the first goal, taking away Brentford's clean sheet. They had to finish the game with 10 men because they'd used all their subs, and there was an injury resulting in them only playing with 10 men. It were basically like they were playing with 10 men, and they could have kept them on the field. Can't remember who it was. Might want to say it was Danilo, maybe. But then Ivan Toney with the free kick, which ends up being a goal in FPL, which we've seen. If it comes off the keeper's back, then it's considered an own goal, but it's a bit weird because the shot was on target, so a bit of a weird one there. Overall, Brentford, if you had Toney and Isak to play, they ended up with the same score, so it didn't really matter there. Brighton, Hove Albion, and Wolves, I predicted 2-0, so I was a bit conservative on this one, so just the 1 point. 6-0. It was 2 Undav goals, 2 Welbeck goals, 2 Pascal Gross goals, and I think there was 2 Enciso assists. There was an assist from Estupinian, so we got an assist there. And yeah, basically in both games across, there was only 1 McAllister return. the rest of the midfielders in terms of like March and Matoma got absolutely nil point, 0. So, but we got 1 point because we predicted the result correct. Bournemouth and Leeds, 4-1 in favor of Bournemouth. Where did I put this one? I predicted a 2-2 draw, which was obviously not the correct result. Not really much to say here other than Leeds probably should have got Big Sam in earlier, which he's now the appointment, which is crazy. And he's going to have a rough go. They have Man City to play up next, away to the Etihad. Don't really see anything changing there. You know, Big Sam's not going to be able to do it. The only way he's going to be able to keep Leeds up is if they win their last 2 games. That's the only way I can see it, because I think they play like Wolves and somebody else in their last 2. Next game, Fulham v Manchester City. I predicted 3-1 in favor of Manchester City. So we get the 1 point there. Surprise Fulham score, but it is Ederson. They had 1 shot on target. Vinicius turned into prime R9 for that 1 shot, and that was the only shot on target I think they had the whole game. And Ederson didn't save it, and then was promptly dropped, which is just hilarious. And then City go on to keep a clean sheet versus West Ham. So more on that in a bit. Again, Pep Roulette struck in this game week as well. United versus Aston Villa, 1-0 over Villa. My prediction was not 1-0. I predicted 2-1 in favor of Man United, so we still get the 1 point there. Very close game indeed. The goal actually comes off a long ball from Emi Martinez. United then break pretty quickly. A shot is saved by Emi Martinez, spills out to Bruno Fernandes, who tucks it home nicely. It was a very nervy game, very close game, but I said coming out of these 3 games, if you're a United fan, if you can get 5 points from the 3 games, which was Spurs, Brighton, and Aston Villa, so basically a win versus win your home game, get at least a draw, don't lose the 2 away games. Circumstances being, United probably should have won in the first half versus Spurs and been 3-0 up and been comfortable. In the Brighton game, they also had chances as well and could have kept it to a 0-0. But again, something about it just seems with the United team is that there are moments where they could just be a bit rocky. But they end up getting the win in this one. Newcastle v Southampton. I predicted a 3-0. So just the 1 point again here. Southampton having to spoil the party on the correct prediction. I believe it was Southampton who actually went up quite early in this one. Then it was just the Wilson and Isak show. I mean, Isak's goal, or Isak's assist, I mean, I believe this was the one with Isak where he didn't get an assist or something like that. Or should have had an assist. Was it this game? Oh no, it might have been the Everton game. I can't remember now. But anyway, there was an Isak assist where he just ripped through everyone, basically. That might have been game week 33, but Isak is in red-hot form. Wilson's in red-hot form. I think Wilson's got 8 goals this month or something like that, or from like last month, the last 8 games, and he only started twice. Crazy. Liverpool v Spurs. What did I go for in this one? I went with a 3-1 in favor of Liverpool. So just the 1 point there. Richarlison taking off his shirt, getting booked, doing the chicken dance, and then immediately Lucas Moura gets the ball to Jota, who should have probably been sent off in the game. My opinion on both. Oh, that's my headset doing that. This cable should be charged though. Hopefully it doesn't break the sound. Yeah, sound seems fine. Hopefully the volume seems fine too. Let me see. Sound seems fine. Yeah, seems good. All right. But yeah, so this one was a crazy one. on both. So the two challenges. So we have Oliver Skip with the challenge on. I believe it was Luis Diaz. Should have been a red card, 100%. No qualms with that. I'll keep saying it. If Casemiro can win the ball and then take the man afterwards and get sent off for it, whereas Oliver Skip misses the ball completely and gets straight leg, I don't know what happened here. And then Diego Jota literally is head height, studs. Like, if Diego Jota had hit him in the chest rather than in the head there, because Oliver Skip does duck his head a little bit, but the top of Diego Jota's boot is like at his eye line, and Diego Jota's like 5'10". So you're telling me that it's okay for his boot to be more than 5 feet off the ground, stud showing straight into the forehead. Like, I don't understand what's a red card anymore, to be honest. If it's Casemiro, apparently if you like breathe on somebody, you get a red card. But anyone else, it's just like you have to do something illegal, I guess. I have no clue. Moving on, Leicester-Everton. This was actually a very, very entertaining game for a Monday night. What did I go with? Leicester-Everton. I went 2-1 in favor of Leicester. It was actually Leicester who probably should have won the game. James Maddison had a penalty, which he could have scored, but Dean Henderson. Not Dean Henderson. What am I thinking of? Jordan Pickford with the water bottle. The water bottle came through. Said 60% chance to stay down the middle. So he went with the odds and he won. So, just 0 points there, unfortunately. Arsenal v Chelsea. I went with, what did I go with in the Arsenal v Chelsea game? Apparently I didn't put one. I probably would have gone 2-0 at the time, but because Arsenal was at home, and that would have probably been I'll just go with the whatever everyone else put, to be honest. Because there's a bunch of people that put 2-0. So I guess that one was missed out from the spreadsheet. But I probably would have gone like 2-0 or something like that, or 3-0, or something to nil in favor of Arsenal. Would have got just the 1 point on my scoring anyway. Yeah, Chelsea are kind of bad. They need some direction, is all I'll say. Liverpool v Fulham. I predicted 2-1 in favor of Liverpool, which ended up getting me the 1 point there. Pretty close game. Liverpool have been slowly picking up the wins. They've only been winning by 1 goal, which is interesting because they do have a couple of testers in the next coming game weeks. They have Brentford coming to Anfield. Then they go away to Leicester, which can be a bit of a banana peel. Then they play Villa at home, so Villa's going to bring the heat on that one. And then they go away to Southampton, who are probably already going to be down by that time, so should be a free win for them. But I expect Liverpool to win every game here on out. And any drop points is beneficial to the likes of Manchester United and Newcastle, who are still in the hunt for top 4. Although they are both in a fairly safe-ish situation, they should be fine. Assuming they win the rest of their games. Newcastle have Arsenal to play next, which could be tricky. They also play Man City, so Newcastle could be in a bit of trouble. But again, it's just about not losing those games, and they should be okay. Same for United. United's schedule is much easier, though. Man City versus West Ham. I predicted 3-0. Got it bang on. Erling Haaland getting his 35th goal of the Premier League season, making him the most scoring Premier League player in a single season, even over Andy Cole and Alan Shearer with their 34. He now has 35. I think there's another record for like most goals in a single campaign by just a player in the I want to say the top flight division, I think, is like 47 or something like that, which is obviously a crazy, crazy stat. Can't remember the person's name, but I think they mentioned it. I remember 47 was the number. And then Brighton v Manchester United. Let me just make sure you can see that. You can. Brighton v Manchester United. I went for a 2-2. Almost ended up being a draw, but nothing going for that, unfortunately. So, total points would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 11 points total. Just writing it down in my notebook. I didn't do any differential picks, so we'll have to exclude those. 11 points is actually somewhat disappointing, to be honest. In terms of results, let's see, how many games were there? So there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 games, and I got every result right except for 3. Oh, so that's actually pretty good, to be honest. That's really good, actually, now that I think about it, in terms of getting results correct, whether it be a draw, a win, or whatever. But some of them are pretty straightforward. So yeah, that's predictions for this week. For previous week. Let's go on to predictions for this week. So I'm going to have to write these ones out as I do them. So we'll just get rid of all of that. So first up, I've gone with Bournemouth 1, Chelsea 1. And my reasoning for that is pretty straightforward. Bournemouth have been good. Bournemouth can leak goals, but Chelsea aren't very good at scoring them. So I feel like it's going to be a draw, probably either way, a scoring draw of some kind. I wouldn't be shocked if it was like 4-0 Bournemouth or something crazy, because they are at home. Yeah, Chelsea are not good. Man City versus Leeds, even with Sam Allardyce coming in as manager, I think it's going to be pretty straightforward for Man City. I've gone with a 3-0, just a pretty standard. Like, when I think City's going to beat some team at home pretty comfortably, I think it's going to be 3-0. I think there could be rotation in this game, which we'll talk about when we go to talk about the table, but I think there could be some pep roulette, because it is also a different deadline this week as well. So you'll see it's 11 o'clock my time, which is 3 p.m. UK time. So the deadline will be 1 p.m. UK time. So make sure to check all times are shown in your local time. Make sure to check those out here. All times are in local time. It'll say whatever the local time is for the deadline up at the top right here. Moving into Spurs v Crystal Palace, I went with a 2-1 in favor of Spurs. Not totally confident on this one. I think Palace could win this one 2-1 as well. But I think Spurs have got to win at home. Ryan Mason's done a little bit better. Kane is obviously still Harry Kane. And he's going to want to finish the season well. Kane can still reach 30 goals as well, which would be a amazing season for him. Like, if Haaland didn't exist, we'd be talking about Harry Kane, who's got 25 Premier League goals this season. Kane's just been slowly ticking along, doing his thing, and is probably looking to finish the season strong before he potentially leaves in the summer. Wolves v Aston Villa, I went with a 1-0 in favor of the away side, Aston Villa, who've been playing really, really well. They were very competitive at Old Trafford, and I expect them to do the same here versus Wolves. Unai Emery has a goal scored at a bare minimum in every game, barring the one versus Manchester United. So I expect them to do well in this one. Wolves are pretty much safe, so not really too much to play for, whereas Villa are still fighting for European places, and Emery would love it if he could get back into the Europa League, which he has won several times with previous Spanish clubs. Or club. I think it might have been just Sevilla. I can't remember. But he wins the Europa League a lot. Liverpool v Brentford. I went with a 2-1. I went with I thought it was pretty close, this one. I think Brentford, if you don't know how to play against long throw-ins, set pieces, 2 men up front, with long balls into the channel and for knockdowns and winning the second ball, and your midfield's not up to the task, you will get overrun. And I think Liverpool know that. They've been pressing a lot better. They've been controlling games a lot more with Trent in midfield. But the thing is that Ivan Toney could potentially just latch himself onto Trent and cause him some issues. So I can see this being a big struggle for power basically in this one. Even though Liverpool are at home, I still favor them, though. I've gone with a 2-1. Now, Newcastle v Arsenal. This one was actually a tough one. This one was a tough one. For some reason, I just think Newcastle are going to do it, you know. I've gone with a 1-0. Arsenal's defense hasn't been that great. Newcastle's defense has leaked a random goal every now and again. But I think this is just the type of performance where Newcastle are just going to control the game from minute 1 to minute 90. It's going to be very tight. They're going to get a goal through probably Wilson or Isak or something like that. And, excuse me. I think the home crowd is really going to help them. And I think this will be basically the be-all, end-all for Arsenal's season. Because I think City, I mean, we would assume that they're going to beat Leeds. We'll check the Premier League table in a bit. But I'm pretty sure City would have a game in hand on Arsenal. And there would be 4 points clear. With the same number of games. Or like one... they have 1 game in hand to go. It would be, yeah, I just think it's just too far gone, to be honest. Because City's not going to, I don't think City's going to lose the rest of their games, to be honest. They're going to win every game. So it's going to be tricky for Arsenal, I think. Manchester United and West Ham. I've gone with a comfortable 2-0 win for Man United. It is an away fixture, which doesn't bode well for United statistics. So basically, if you go down every team in, I think it's the top half of the table, United has lost to every team away from home, except for Spurs, which they drew, which was the 2-2 not too long ago. Which is a problem. In the bottom half, they do quite well. And West Ham are going to probably sit back. It's going to favor United. It's just how well can United handle Mikel Antonio. Mikel Antonio has a quiet game. United will probably break West Ham down and should be quite comfortable. If they can't handle Antonio well, we could see United go down 1-0 early to potential pressing or playing out from back errors or just a counterattack in general. Luke Shaw and Lindelof were quite aggressive in the first half versus Brighton in midweek. I thought they played pretty well. All things considered, Luke Shaw just a mistake with the handball. Thought he was probably man of the match alongside Lindelof, maybe. Lindelof had that early pass that was a bit kind of short to Wan-Bissaka, which potentially could have scored from. But apart from that, they were basically flawless. Brighton were wave after attack. And remember, Luke Shaw is not a centre-back by trade. And Lindelof looks so much better when Maguire's not in the team. I wouldn't be surprised if Maguire didn't just come straight back into the team. Versus West Ham, but I'd rather him not, to be honest, because United have been playing much better. Even though the results haven't been going United's way, I expect United should be comfortable in this one with their remaining games against lower half opposition, even though Chelsea you wouldn't think would be, but they are one of the games remaining, and they are lower half opposition. And I believe United, because Brighton still have to play Newcastle themselves, they also still have to play Man City, and they have to play Arsenal as 3 of the remaining 5 or 6 games. So you would expect Brighton to probably drop points somewhere in there. So the most Brighton can get, I believe, is 73. United are currently on 63. So United would need 74, which would basically be 11 points. So 3 wins and 2 draws. So even if you draw the West Ham game, it's not the end of the world. You can easily beat Wolves at home. You can beat Bournemouth. You can get a point versus Chelsea. And then you could beat Fulham. It shouldn't be that difficult to do. If the point comes to pass where United miss out on goal difference in the top 4 randomly to Liverpool or something, because of that point at Brighton, it wouldn't be because of that. It would be because they messed up these remaining 5 games, which should all be fairly winnable. Moving on to the Monday games during the bank holiday in the UK, King's Coronation. I believe it's a bank holiday for those Canadians as well. I will certainly have the day off as well, which is quite nice to get to watch a little bit of the football. Also, the Championship last game week of the season is on, as well as League Two. So pretty fun. I went with what did I go in this one? I went with 2-2. I think this one could be quite interesting. Fulham will definitely put up a fight for sure. Leicester need the 3 points here. They need 3 points as badly as possible. They will have known what Leeds would have had as their result. Bournemouth are safe. West Ham would have played, who potentially could be pulled back into it a little bit. And them getting a win over Fulham would put huge pressure on Everton, who will go away to Brighton, and as well as Forest, who play Southampton, which could be the biggest game of their season on whether they stay up or not. So Leicester, I think, might only just get a draw out of this one, to be honest. Fulham will definitely put up a fight. This is also the last game that Mitrovic is suspended for. However, it looks like Andres Pereira is out for the season as well, so that's a big miss for them. Could be a bit of an issue for the supply chain for Mitrovic if he does come straight back into the team. Brighton v Everton, I've gone with a 3-0. I think Brighton, if they can put 6 past Wolves, they could put at least 3 past Everton. Put Wolves down again. No. Can't be having that. So yeah, that's what I've gone with for that one. Should be a fun game, that one. Everton, they need to not do what they've been doing recently, which is pressing high up the pitch, because Brighton will draw you in and then pass through you in 3 passes, and they would have put it in the back of the net. And you just can't do that versus Brighton. You need to have a low block, defensive-minded, do what United basically kind of did in the second half, kind of ward them off, look for the counter-attacks. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's a very good out ball, so that should help them as well. He should be physical enough to be able to deal with Duncan Webster. So they should be okay on that front, but should be pretty comfortable for Brighton, I think. Forest v Southampton, I've gone with the 1-1, which would make it a bit more tense. At the old bottom of the table. Should be an interesting one, though. Could be massive, I would say, on that day. Everton, Leicester, Forest, 3 teams all near the relegation zone, some in it currently, and that could be a huge swing. If I just take a look at the Premier League table at the moment, if I look at the Premier League table, so at the top, if I just bring it across here, there we are. Let me just move this notepad out of the way. We'll just do our predictions for this week. No need for differential picks. Everyone's going for the same players anyway, to be honest. We might do differential picks for the deadline stream on the final game week of the season. See how that goes. But yeah, if you look at the top here, Man City 1 point ahead, with a better, much better goal difference as well. Way better goal difference. Game in hand. They will be even on matches played after they play Leeds. So by the time Arsenal go to play Newcastle, Man City will be 4 points up, most likely, with even games. Newcastle will play Arsenal, so one of these two will be dropping points. And like I said, if you look at Arsenal's remaining fixtures, Newcastle away, Brighton at home, Forest away, who are fighting for their lives, Wolves at home are pretty much safe. It's not going to be easy for Arsenal. Man City should be pretty comfortable. I mean, they got Leeds tomorrow. They also have Everton after their midweek versus Real Madrid. So that should be pretty straightforward. Chelsea, Brighton, Brentford to end the season could prove to be a bit tricky, but I think if Arsenal were to lose versus Newcastle with Brighton still to play as well, I think Man City would be pretty much favorites to kind of just take it easy in the Premier League, and they'll still be quite comfortable. Newcastle and Manchester United on 65 and 63 points apiece. Liverpool, they both have a game in hand on Liverpool. That game in hand is for Manchester United. It is Chelsea at home. For Newcastle, it is Brighton away, I want to say. Could be wrong on that. Brighton at home, sorry. So Newcastle have to play Arsenal. They play Leeds away. So, I mean, they should comfortably beat Leeds. But again, Leeds could still be fighting there as well. Brighton at home. Brighton are going to be a tricky customer. Leicester could be fighting as well. And then Chelsea, well, not much to play for, to be honest. I mean, Chelsea, if they had slightly less points, they would have got sucked into it too, to be honest. But I just don't see anyone getting past 37 points, to be honest. Brighton, their remaining fixture. Well, let's look at Liverpool. Liverpool got 4 games. I expect them to win them all, to be honest. So that would put Liverpool 4 games left, 4 times through 12. So that would be 71 points, which is what they put them on. So United get 3 wins out of 5. That would put them comfortable. Newcastle needing just a couple, assuming their goal difference stays the same. Brighton's remaining fixtures. This is kind of crucial for United and Newcastle. So they host Everton at home this weekend. That should be a free win for them. They also host Southampton. Those should be 6 points there. This is where it's tricky. Away to Arsenal, away to Newcastle, home to Man City, away to Villa. Those 4 games, if they get 12 points from that, I'll hold my hands up and say, Brighton, you deserve to be in the Champions League, to be honest. If United managed to drop points or Liverpool managed to drop out or whatever it may be, you deserve it if you win all of those games. Spurs, I think, are pretty much out of it. 54 points, 2 games more played. Same amount of games played as Liverpool. Their fixtures aren't the easiest to end the season. Palace at home should be okay. Villa away is tough. Hosting Brentford's not easy. And then Leeds at home, or Leeds away, they could be fighting for their lives, but likely Kane will turn up and score some goals or something. Down the bottom, this is where it gets interesting here. This is where it gets really interesting. So, I would probably say the teams that are still potentially in it to go down, I think Wolves are safe. Wolves are safe because currently the most points that Forest could get if they win all 4 games would be 42 points. However, I don't expect any of these teams on the bottom to win more than 2 games, to be honest. So, I think West Ham just need a single win and they're good. So Wolves is fine because they're on 37, which would be 34 plus a win. So West Ham, who do they got remaining? They play Manchester United this weekend. They go away to Brentford. That's a bit tricky. West Ham versus Leeds, and then West Ham play Leicester City. These 2 games could be very, very crucial. This is on the last day of the season as well. Could be some drama. It could be a situation where all West Ham and Leicester need to do is draw with each other, and they will be both safe. That is also a possibility. Leicester, the fixtures that they have remaining, they have Fulham away, which is crucial. They host Liverpool. They go away to Newcastle, and it's these 2 fixtures right here for me. Fulham and West Ham that they need to look at to see if they can get something. Newcastle will probably dominate them in this game. Shouldn't worry about that one too much. And then they can see what they can get versus Liverpool. Because Liverpool do concede goals. That is one thing that they do. Leeds just barely out of it at the moment on 30 points. Their remaining games are Man City. Probably not going to get much there. Newcastle at home. Probably not going to get much there either. It's the West Ham fixture. They need 3 points, and they need to pick up something versus Spurs if they want to be super comfortable, I think, to be honest. Because it could be rocky for them. Forest, I mean, they have to win. This is the game. They have to win this game. They have to. This is the easiest game they have left on paper. They're at home to the team that is bottom. They have to win the game. They can go away to Chelsea, potentially get something how bad they are. I don't expect them to get anything versus Arsenal, to be honest. And then Palace. I mean, Palace is probably... They might give you something, but again, it's away from home. It's not the best thing in the world, to be honest. It's going to be tough for Forest, I think. I think if Leeds also need to keep their goal difference down too, which is something that Sam Allardyce will probably be preaching to his team when they play City tomorrow. Everton, I just don't see where Everton get points. Brighton away, not much going to happen there. City at home, don't see them getting anything there. Wolves away, I mean, you can get something, maybe. And then Bournemouth at home, maybe Bournemouth's already safe and they give you a little bit of help, but I think that's still pretty tough. Bournemouth can score some goals. Wolves are very good at home, so that one's a bit dicey. And then Southampton, I mean, even if they win all four of their games, which they play Forest, they play Fulham, which are definitely winnable. Brighton and Liverpool, I wouldn't expect them to win. So again, that's only bringing them up to 30 points, which isn't good enough considering their goal difference is equal to the worst alongside Forest at the current state of the standings. So very interesting. Very, very interesting. Definitely going to see a lot of potential swings this week with Leeds basically guaranteed to lose. West Ham are probably just looking to kind of see if they can grind out a point. Leicester need to beat Fulham. Everton need to beat Brighton, but I don't think they will. And then Forest and Southampton. I mean, Southampton, I think pretty much... Southampton, if they were to lose this game... If Southampton were to lose and... If Southampton were to lose and Forest were to win... Well, they play each other. Yeah, if Forest beats Southampton, Forest would go to 33 points, which would basically mean Southampton would be basically screwed. They can only tie Forest. They would be 6 points back of Leeds, assuming they were to lose to Man City with a worse goal difference with 3 games left. It would be pretty much over. Not mathematically, but it would be pretty much over, to be honest. All right, moving into the team for this week as it stands. Move that out of the way. Right, here we go. So this is the team currently as it stands. Let me move out of the way of Kepa. Give him a little bit of a showing down the bottom there. So we got De Gea in goal. We have Trent Alexander-Arnold, Estupiñán, and Kieran Trippier. We've got a 5-man midfield with Mo Salah, Solly March, Jack Grealish, Mitoma, Rashford, Watkins, and Haaland captained up front with Kepa currently on the bench. Martial, Botman, and Henry as our substitutes. Now that could definitely change. We have 2 free transfers, so we kind of want to use one, but we don't want to really go early on the Newcastle kind of bandwagon. We already have our 3 Brighton in there. We have 2 out of our 3 Newcastle. So if we did want to go like Isak Wilson as an example, we would have to get rid of both Watkins and Martial, but we'd also have to get rid of Botman. So, that would be something that we could do. Let's take a look at first, before we do anything. We also have 1.4 million in the bank. For those that don't know, there's 2 free transfers. So, this is Fantasy Football Scout members area. Shout out to Fantasy Football Scout. Let's do the little plug here for them. Thank you, Fantasy Football Scout, for partnering with us this season. They have a preseason offer, which you usually can save 20% off. That'll be probably coming back for the preseason as well. So make sure to check out fantasyfootballscout.co.uk. You can check out our link in the description, and you can get the preseason benefits when you go to do that if you were to sign up next season. But one to kind of just think about. But yeah, they have a whole bunch of different tables that are fully customizable from different stats powered by Opta. So it's fantastic. So you know it's the best stats around. So thank you to Fantasy Football Scout. Now, let's get back to the table. So, this is sorted by... let me do last 4... I had it as last 4 matches. I need to put it as last 4 game weeks. Because last 4 game weeks is a lot different. So we'll put Akanji, Ake, De Bruyne, Foden, Diaz, Grealish, Gundogan, Haaland, Laporte, Mahrez, Stones, Bernardo Silva, and Alvarez. Only show selected players. Sort by time played. And hey presto, the man at the top is Ruben Dias of Portugal. If we look at the ones like at the very top, so Grealish has played a lot of minutes, Ruben Dias has played a lot of minutes, John Stones has played a lot of minutes, Erling Haaland 4th on that list as well. Haaland with 5.18 expected goal involvement, which is crazy, 8 big chances. Haaland clearly gets the lion's share of the shots. We understand that. But the players that haven't played as much, Kevin De Bruyne, only 140 minutes with 2 starts in the last 4 game weeks. Phil Foden only got his minutes last a couple of nights ago. Got himself a goal, though, from 1 big chance. So, also got an assist as well. When did he get an assist? Oh, it might have been another substitute appearance. But yeah, he had the, what was it, tonsillitis or whatever. So he could be on the cards, and I can see him easily playing over Grealish, who's played 339 minutes in the last 4 game weeks with 4 starts. The fact that Grealish only has 1 assist is pretty crazy, to be honest. Grealish should be taking more shots, in my opinion, and was very unlucky not to come away with something in terms of involvement. John Stones has been, expected goal involvement highest among all the defenders from what I can tell, apart from Ake, who, I mean, when you get a header from 6 yards out, it makes it a little bit easier, to be honest. But Ake is very good aerially, so he's probably going to stay in the team, unless Pep's looking to, he's just come back from injury, maybe rest him a little bit. So it's a bit interesting. So, me personally, who do I think is likely to get rotated? I think it's one of Grealish or Mahrez will probably sit out for Phil Foden. The other one I think will play. I think he'll keep Bernardo Silva back for the Champions League, which I think he'll start Bernardo Silva and Grealish. If De Bruyne is fit, I think he plays on the weekend, even if it is just 60 minutes. Because they can easily go 3-0 up and take off everyone. Wouldn't be shocked if Haaland didn't play. But again, could be some potential early team news. We'll have to wait and see on that front. So I think maybe Ake probably... I would probably say the players who would be, in terms of risk, at risk this week would probably be Ake. I think De Bruyne is probably going to play because Pep said he was fine. Ake would be at risk. One of Mahrez or Grealish should be at risk. And potentially Haaland, but I don't think that's as likely, to be honest. And if Haaland plays and De Bruyne plays, then the likelihood is Alvarez probably doesn't play. So, but yeah, this is the team currently. As we pointed it out before we discussed that table. So, let's take a look at the planner. So, currently we have Watkins in the team. Now, my thinking would be this. If Grealish was on the bench, or, like, if I found out a Man City player was on the bench, now Haaland could easily come on, right? Haaland could come on. I think there's one of 2 situations. Haaland comes on for 30 minutes, or Haaland doesn't come on at all. Do I want Haaland 30 minutes of Haaland versus Leeds? Of course I do. Do I want him captain, though? That's a different story. So if I find out that Haaland is on the bench, let's go through the scenarios, because it's mainly about Pep rotation here. Man City. Grealish starts, Haaland's on the bench. I take the captaincy, and I put it on... Probably put it on Salah or Rashford. Let's do the inverse of that. Grealish is benched. Haaland is starting. And now we can do a situation where Alvarez is playing too. So in any situation where Alvarez is starting... So what would I do if Alvarez was starting and Haaland was on the bench? If Alvarez was starting and Haaland was on the bench, I would be half tempted to do Julian Alvarez and just do that, to be honest. And just play Watkins versus Wolves. That might be a stupid idea, but it might work. Because I would just have to either dodge 30 minutes of Haaland or 0, potentially. Now, if Haaland started, Grealish was on the bench and got rotated, but Alvarez was playing, then I would just do this. That's pretty straightforward. If both of them weren't starting, then I would do the same. I would have Alvarez captain, but I would leave Haaland in the team. I'd probably put Grealish for a sub, to be honest. If they were both starting... if they were both starting... Let's say if Haaland and Grealish were both starting, and Alvarez was benched, what would I do? What would I do? If Alvarez was benched, Grealish and Haaland were both starting. So this is the team currently. So I get the early team news. Alvarez is benched. Grealish and Haaland are both starting. What do I do? I would potentially do Botman to... Well, let me... I just want to see something. So if I do this... Who's the highest defender? Diaz? I think he's 6 million. Just going to do this. I'm just going to do this for argument's sake while I'm thinking of it. Alvarez. Not Alvarez. Isak. Okay, so I'd be 0.2 off to be able to do that. So I couldn't get Diaz. So if I wanted to do that next week, where I could bring in both Isak and Wilson, Diaz would have to be... I'm just going to pick Akanji, whoever, right? So next week I would do the 2 free transfers. I'd bench Grealish. I'd bench Akanji. And I'd probably captain one of these two. Gameweek 37. Would play Grealish over Wilson. Would play Akanji over whichever forward I think is going to start, Wilson or Isak. I would play them. My transfer would also probably be Salah to Bruno. I'd have triple Brighton, triple City, triple United. And then final game week of the season, I mean, I'd probably be more likely to play Trippier over Kanji, Wilson over maybe Wilson over Grealish, to be honest. Especially if they're in the Champions League final too, and they've already got the league sewn up. I mean, they don't have to play Grealish because Chelsea are just terrible, and Newcastle might need at least a point or something on the last day. You never know. So that is a thing. So reset the whole thing. So yeah, if Alvarez is starting. So if Alvarez is starting, and Grealish and Haaland are starting, what did Watkins do last time versus Wolves when they played? They would have been at home, obviously. 1-1, didn't do too much. That was under Emery, too. That would be the trickiest decision, I think. If I knew Alvarez, Grealish, and Haaland were all starting, I'd be tempted to just do Martial to Alvarez and play Alvarez over over Watkins. I'd be tempted. Obviously, if Grealish or Haaland are benched, then I bench one of them potentially, right? Because I think 90 minutes of Watkins versus Wolves away is possibly better than Haaland versus Leeds at home with only 30 minutes /0. Might be able to dodge a bullet there. But then I have 2 frees going into 36. I'll be kind of locked into double defense. So I probably just go Watkins to Wilson or Isak. I might play them over Alvarez. I play Botman over Grealish. Probably go with that. Captain, obviously one of the double game week players. Would have 2 frees in this week. Probably be Salah out for Fernandez. Would play Alvarez. Would play Grealish. And then final game week would just 2 free transfers to kind of do whatever. So that one's probably better, to be honest. Would be if, like... who else plays at 11 as well? So Villa Wolves, I also know if Watkins is playing too. So if I find out like Watkins is benched or not in the squad or something, that would also be helpful. So yeah, I think the easiest thing for me would be if one of Grealish or Haaland didn't start. Preferably Grealish would make it easier because I would just keep Grealish, get rid of Martial, and put in Alvarez, assuming Alvarez started. Yeah, that's pretty much what I would do. If Alvarez didn't start and Grealish and Haaland both did start, I'd be half tempted to just go Botman to a Man City defender that I know is starting. And then kind of go from there. It would block me out of Alvarez later, which is a bit unfortunate, but it is an option. So, but yeah, as it stands, this is the team currently. So we've got De Gea in goal, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Estupiñán, Trippier, Salah, March, Grealish, Matoma, Rashford, Haaland captain with Watkins. Kepa's back up. Martial, Botman, Henry on the bench. Let's move over to the big screen. So, thank you all for watching Game Week's 35 deadline-ish stream. Make sure to check out the VOD over on YouTube if you didn't get a chance to watch us live here on Twitch. I will hope to do, let's see, when's this Game Week finish? This Game Week finishes on Monday. We'll probably do the deadline-ish stream again on Thursday or Friday. Potentially Friday. And then same thing for the following week at the end of Game Week 36. Same for the Game Week 37. And then on Game Week 38, we'll be doing 1 hour before the deadline as a live stream on the weekend, because it's a little bit easier to get up for that one. So thank you all for watching. Make sure to like, favorite, comment, subscribe. Pilot Flame 226 on all platforms. And until the next one, happy Game Week 35, everyone, and take care.